Hi guys, welcome back to another tutorial for geometry. Okay, so these notes will cover 11-4, and the notes are over rectangles, rhombi, and squares. So the properties of a rectangle has all the properties of a parallelogram, which we went over on the last tutorial, tutorial 11-3. But it has the following properties on top of the properties of a parallelogram. So all angles are right angles, diagonals are congruent, and diagonals bisect each other. So that's what this is saying. The diagonals, they are congruent. That means they have the same length, and they bisect each other. So this is equal to this, which is equal to this. So all four segments created by the intersection of the diagonals are congruent. Okay? So to answer part A, I'm going to do part B in class. To answer part A, we use the fact that the diagonals bisect each other. So what that means is that SB is congruent to BU, as you can see the markings here. Okay, so they are congruent. SB is given as 10x minus 15, and BU is x plus 12. So if we use a property, then we can say SB equals BU. But SB is 10x minus 15. So 10x minus 15 equals BU, which is x plus 12. And then we're solving for x. So minus x, and then plus 15, and plus 15 on the other side. So this cancels on this side, and this also cancels on that side. And 10x minus 1x, that's 9x, or 9x's. And 12 plus 15, that gives us 27. Okay? So now, the reason why I'm solving for x is because, remember, we're trying to find the length of RT, okay? And we know that the diagonals are congruent, because that's one of the properties of the rectangle. Diagonals are congruent, so if we find the length of one diagonal, we can find the length of the other diagonal. So 9x equals 27, so let's divide by 9. So and then we find x is 3. So let's find the length of, now the length of SB. Okay, so SU, the length of SU equals SB plus BU, which is SB is 10. Can I just write 3 instead of the x? We know x is 3, so 10 times 3 minus 15 plus BU. BU is x plus 12, but again, x is 3, so 3 plus 12. And 10 times 3, that's 30, minus 15, that's 15. And 3 plus 12, that's 15 again. So then we find SU is equal to 30 units. But the diagonals are congruent, so that's also the length of RT. Okay? And there we are. So that's the length of RT, 30 units. Now let's go down to the rhombi. Properties of a rhombus. Again, it has all the properties of a parallelogram, plus diagonals bisect the angles. So that's what this is saying. This diagonal is bisecting that angle, and also this angle here, making this angle congruent to that one, this one congruent to that one, and the same happens with that diagonal. Okay? And the diagonals are perpendicular bisectors of each other. So when they intersect, the diagonals are perpendicular, they create right angles, and they bisect each other, so making this one here is congruent to that one, and this one is congruent to this one. Okay. Now the diagonals divide the quadrilateral into 4 congruent right triangles. So this is a right triangle because of the right angle, and as you can see, they are all right triangles. All 4 triangles are right triangles. And then we're going to use those properties to answer the questions in part A, which says that if Fs is 12, so that means this whole side, this whole diagonal is 12, and HI is 16, this is 16, find the perimeter of fish. We're going to use the fact that the diagonals bisect each other, okay? So if Fs is 12, then that means when they bisect each other, this becomes 6, and this is 6. This is 16, so when they bisect each other, that's 8, and this is 8. So then this is a right angle, so we have a right triangle. We need to find Fi, because that's one side of the rhombus, okay? And once we find Fi, We do it by using Pythagorean Theorem because we have a right triangle. So we're trying to find the hypotenuse. So we have a squared plus b squared equals c squared. A squared, let's say it's 6 squared plus a squared equals c squared. 6 squared is 36. 8 squared is 64. So then 36 plus 64, that's 100 equals c squared. Then we take the square root, okay, and the square root of 100 is 10. So we know the length of the hypotenuse is 10. So that means this is 10. But if this one is 10, then so is this one, and that one. So if we want to find a perimeter, then we just multiply the four sides because they're all equal. They're all equal. So we say 4 times 10 gives us a perimeter, and the perimeter is 40 units. Okay. Now, Part B. Part B is saying if FIH is 56, find the measure of IFH. So FIH, so that means this angle is 56. Now remember, the diagonal bisects the angle, so if this angle is 56, then this one is also 56. So those two angles are congruent, and each angle is 56. They want us to find the measure of angle IFH. So IFH, the big angle. Now, if I add those two angles, the sum of those two angles is 112 degrees. Okay? So, if these two angles are up to 112, then we're going to use a property that consecutive angles are supplementary. So, if this is 112, then the measure of angle IFH, so the measure of angle IFH is equal to 180 minus 112. So that means that angle IFH is 68 degrees. Okay? And then, so this is what we needed to answer here. Now, the last question is saying that if F5 is 6x plus 2, 6x plus 2, and SI is 8x minus 4, okay, so that's this one, 8x minus 4. So that's this one here, 8x minus 4. They want us to find the length of FH. Now, if we find the length of one side, we can find the length of all of them because all sides are equal in a rhombus. So we're going to use that fact, okay? So that means FI is equal to SI. And then I'm going to substitute. So that means Fi is 6x plus 2, and that equals 8x minus 4. We're solving for x again, so minus 6x, and then plus 4, this cancels, and this cancels. So then we have 2 plus 4, that gives us 6, and 8x minus 6x, that's 2x. Then we divide by 2, so we find x equals 3. Now, we just go back to either one of these two sides and we'll find the length of all the sides, okay? So, I'm going to go back to this one. So, I know Fi is equal to 6 times x is 3 plus 2. So, 6 times 3, that's 18 plus 2. So, we know Fi equals 20, which is also the length of FH. Because all sides are equal. Okay, so that's all for now. I'll see you in the classroom. Bye-bye.